What's up, guys? My name's Mikey, and you're watching To All the Crowd Rooms. Our channel has lots of diverse content, from interviews, live sets, drinking challenges, a little game called Who Wants to Be a Scene Kid, which is basically just a ripoff of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, except with questions about Warped Tour, Tumblr Core, Crunk Core, Metalcore, you name it. And if you're into that kind of stuff, hit subscribe right now because it really helps support the channel. Today is a good one because I have my friends back on the channel, the Heavy Low dudes, and we got Sam Pura. Now they're going by Bone Cutter. What's going on, fellas? Can you guys explain to me and the people that don't know what exactly Bone Cutter is compared to what Heavy Low was?
Yeah, take it away, Chris.
I don't know. So drum-wise, I see it to be very similar, but I tried to make it more dance beats and try to do less in this way on this record, and kind of just make it flow a little bit better. Whereas like the old drum parts were like, I almost would consider them more challenging, but I feel like there's a better flow to not pushing yourself to the limit on that. So I don't know. That's my vibe with my drums on that record.
Hell yeah. And also to note, like, this record is actually just like from a time capsule from back in 2011. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Drums recorded back then, but then the drums were recorded in 2011, and then everything else was recorded recently.
Yeah, so like, like the difference between the basic difference is like we don't have an old guitarist, and we now like Sam and I sort of play guitar. Low
battery.
What?
Whoa, low battery.
My bad.
Someone's got a low battery.
Yeah, so that sounds. That sounded like you, Rob.
Did it?
No, like another the other guitarists is just easier because they don't really live near us. So we just want to keep writing music. And then the other piece you talked about was the time capsule. A lot like these songs initially were written by sort of like Chris and me and Sam. We were like jamming potentially to use them as heavy songs, and just kind of like canned that idea after we sort of all like, I don't know, moved around and moved on with life, and then we kind of picked them back up this year. So
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, bass and drums were recorded like a decade ago.
Yeah.
So what made you guys want to go back and like just finish it off? Because it's been close to 10 years since these songs existed.
We had been trying.
Yeah, I think like I personally got really busy like doing all the circuit records, like doing all the fucking touring bands that, you know, had to do their album cycles and stuff like that. So I got really locked in on all these projects. And me personally, like, I'm not one that wants to really like dive into something that feels like a chore. I only want to like do it if it's actually going to feel like a really fun, like engaging, intuitive process. And I have to be like in that mindset of it. And so like I had always wanted to get to finishing it. And obviously like me being the guy who's like producing and like I'm essentially the executive creative director that everyone's waiting on, having the ability to actually like put time into doing this, you know what I mean? So like everyone's cool and patient about it, but like we all like would casually kind of like nudge each other and be like, yo man, like I was listening to those songs the other day, like they're fucking tight. We should finish those. You know what I mean? Like Rob would hit me up randomly being like, let's do some vocals. Like Andrew would hit me up randomly. I would hit them up randomly and be like, dude, let's get back to finishing this. So we all like wanted to get to working on it, but I finally had the time to really like dive in and like start doing some vocals with Rob. And the second we started working on it, it was like immediately fun and cool. And I was like excited about the whole thing. So it just like, once, you know, like it's kind of the whole, like in order to find inspiration, you got to work for it, you know, like once we started putting in the work, like it all just kind of like started being really cool.
Yeah, for sure. No, and definitely like after listening to this record, Chris was mentioning that's like a lot more dance beats and stuff. Like you could definitely hear the progression of the band. And like you said, Sam, like this is a lot more of a fun album than like your previous stuff. Like it just got a whole different vibe in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, like the initial sort of like bass and drum piece, like it was easy to like recognize that it was pretty sick. Like even just with that, like the bass tones that we got were phenomenal. They're pretty nuts, and like I don't know, we were just having a good time. So it was like I don't know, like a shame if we didn't do something like it. You know?
Yeah, were you guys like purposely trying to like switch up the sound when you wrote these back 10 years ago? Like, was the intention like, hey, we're gonna make this more of a fun album?
Well, Andrew, you got to talk about blowing up the bass amp, dude.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, like totally though. Like we were all just getting into different types of music. Chris was getting into a ton of dance music, and like we were trying to incorporate that some way. It's not like what was I going to say about that? Well, whatever. Yeah, pretty much. Like we didn't want to like just make more heavy songs, even if maybe it ended up being heavy. Like we wanted it to be different. And then yeah, the bass thing was that like I was just trying to get some of the craziest tones I could, and then I was using Sam's amps in his studio, and then I would be like switching heads and cabs, and I switched
For each part of like every riff that happens, like Andrew is switching amps for it, so it's like never a consistent bass tone. Like it's like, oh, for this one crazy feedback moment, we should use this amp and this amp, and if I use this pedal in this way and make this crazy feedback, like it's hella tight. Let's record that one moment in the fucking like the 3-second moment with this setup, and then we'll move on to this next riff here and change amps and stuff.
Yeah, and then one time when I switched it, I had the ohms wrong. We got like such a sick sound, and then it just like blew up Sam's amp.
Yeah, it was the best my bass amp has ever sounded, and I got it fixed after that, and it never sounded as good as that. Like it was like lighting itself on fire. How awesome it sounded! Which is funny because one time when we played in Australia, they made us stop playing because the speaker cone was just glowing orange because Andrew was just fucking shredding so much distortion into the
I don't know how that happened. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, they're like, stop! We're like, what? The amp was about to catch on fire.
Australia is gonna explode.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like something to do with like the pedals I was using in a different like electrical voltage or something. I don't know.
I think that like your style is just like creating so much like you rely on like delay pedals that like chop and have so much like zero repeat time, you know what I mean? It just like are so loud, and you'll hit those things on top of the distortion, like it's just like ripping the fucking front end of a fucking bass amp at all times, you know what I mean? Like you always play really hard into them.
Damn, that's crazy. All right, so to go back before we get more in depth with this record, I just wanted to run through some questions since the last time that we talked, and I was just curious what everyone's been up to. Sam, you for instance, you've been staying out of trouble. Have you been recording any dope bands recently?
So good. Well, for one, my wife is pregnant, so we're gonna have a kid in July, which is pretty wild. I've been gearing up for that, so that's pretty tight.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really excited that like we got the bone cutter thing done because I want to start making my own music and putting out stuff and just like consistently making good content. And like this was like the first like opportunity to like really collab with like the cool dudes again and be like, yo, we should make a music video for every song. We should fucking do like really cool shit for each song and like make tight ass content. And like now we're trying to get some people to do remixes of the song and stuff like that. So if you want to remix these songs and make them sound completely fucked up and nothing like anything they are and will ever be, it would be awesome because that's what we're trying to do. But like I've been doing. I'm excited to have finished that. I have a few other like records that I've been like wrapping up, a bunch of stuff I'm really excited about. Doing lots more like pop leaning stuff. So it's kind of cool to have like the pop leaning like production side and then the completely avant-garde like noise making production side, and like I want to blend those two worlds and like have like a nice diverse platform to really make music with people around, as opposed to just being known as the fucking pop punk revival fucking cuck, you know what I'm saying?
That's amazing. Andrew, what have you been up to since the last time we spoke?
Like the three main things I do these days is like I work, and then I'm working on a master's right now. I'm about to finish that, and then I've just been doing a bunch of like digital graphic design for this album. I did like the vinyl and tape layouts, bunch of promotional stuff, and then what's that? Oh yeah, the merchandise. Yeah, that we just came out with. Rob drew those, right?
Yeah.
And then, do you know who did the graphic design stuff for that heavy release? Rob?
Like put the drawings on there and like, yeah, made them all crazy. His name's Taylor from that band Steak Sauce Mustache. Is that the band name? Steak
That
Sauce
sounds
Mustache?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like they're pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're fun. They remind me of Totally Unicorn.
Oh, totally.
Andrew, you were working on some of the video stuff as far as the visuals for the Bone Cutter stuff.
Yeah. So like one of the ideas we had since the EP was so I don't know, short, was it wouldn't be hard to just make a video for every song. So yeah, I did one song. I just like found a bunch of archival footage and put together sort of a weird video. What is that? My wife is a dead cat is our song. My cat is a dead wife.
My dead wife is a cat.
Parentheses meow.
So yeah, that was kind of fun because my video was like a bunch of, I don't know, like I just came up with a strange story of like a bunch of nuclear bombs exploding that like exploded in the water that raised like the water levels or something like that into essentially Waterworld. Like I had watched Waterworld and was like kind of like I don't know, like a weird play on that idea. Just watch it.
Is that the song that's the lyrical theme is about the tsunami that you guys wrote about?
No, so the lyrical theme, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the lyrics are about that. It's honestly the like the music is like representing sort of the chaos of what it might have been to experience that.
Okay.
The lyrics are a love story.
Oh, okay. Do you want to dive into that, Rob?
It's just about two people who like to cut themselves and hurt themselves, and they're scared of which one will die first because they don't want to go any other way than at the same time.
Oh my God, that's heavy.
I like that one lyric is my favorite one in that song. We plan our way out of the night on a napkin, right?
Yeah, we map our way out of the night on a napkin. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the phrasing of it and just the cadence of it. Like it's really good.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, and Robbie, so you're the movie guy. You did the music video for Sea of Broken Needles.
Needs. Broken needles.
So the cool thing about that, I think I saw you post like how like it was basically a free music video.
Yeah. I think all of them were shot for nothing. Like nobody paid for anything to make these, like any of the 4 videos. They were just made on, passion, I guess. Yeah, friendship, collaborative efforts.
No, I just think it's really cool how you guys have been like so resourceful with this project and like doing everything in house and shit.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that Sam is in the band with a fucking world-class grade studio, and our good friend is Jihad from 12 Gauge Records. It's like we're doing it DIY, except we're also like very equipped to put out a legit record.
Well, dude, it's funny. So back to our conversation that we had before, Sam, where we talked about the Venn diagram. I always wondered where Heavy Low Low fell on that Venn diagram.
It was the great one. We didn't, because like no record we ever did was really fast. Like the other one that was like fast was the was Fuck It, but it wasn't like really fast. That one like still took some time at that time. Like we had to like have like 5 different hangouts at my house to like get that like first EP kind of done. You know what I mean? And so it was always great. Like it was never like fast or cheap. You know what I mean? Like and also like these guys have always been like super cool about making sure that like I've been compensated for like my time and like my, you know, involvement. And so that's always been really awesome. It's like they've never felt like they've been taking advantage of me. You know what I mean? Like we're like making really like things that like always feel like important to me. Like I feel like I'm in the process of making like really great meaningful stuff when like ever we had worked on heavy content and like this bone cutter stuff. You know what I mean? It's like I work towards like seeking complete emotional fulfillment with the material, and like I have reached that with everything that I've done with them, which is great. You know,
That's dope.
yeah. I don't look back on any of the material I've ever made with them. I was like, oh man, I wish I could have done it differently. Like I did it like the best I could with what we had at the time and the tools and the talent, and like we were all on our A game. Like I look back at those as like those are like peak A game moments of my career. You know.
That's fucking sick. Yeah, no, especially because the Bone Cutter record sounds amazing.
It's funny. It's so like it's funny how like old the drums are and stuff like that. Like I would never record drums like that now. But like also a unique thing about the Bone Cutter thing. It was the first time that I ever grid edited and put things to a click. All heavy stuff was always free. Like it was never to a click. It was never like it was all just like completely like free. And this was the first time I like gridded it.
What's the pros and cons of doing it like with click and no click?
Feel
like
Chris theory, you know what I mean? Like, but really I'm so good at Pro Tools that like, it doesn't matter. You could just go in there and play it and I'll map everything to a click and I'll change like everything that he did, he played without a click, but I put it to a click. So it's the first thing that like, I was able to make like really cool, like perfect copy and pasting of parts and be like, great, I'll play this one riff this many times, copy and paste it, put it here. Like, but also like, that's the fun thing about these songs is like, there's not a lot of copy and paste. It's all like different segments. Like, and if you took those one segments and looped them and made like completely different songs out of them, you could, you know what I mean? Like, hence like the theory of like wanting to remix things. Cause like, there'd be moments where we're just looping like a section, trying to get like the coolest guitar tone for the part. That's just like, da 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 da. Da, 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 like just looping that over and over. And then it's like, this in itself is a tight like riff. Like we should make a new song out of this. And like, this is cool. Like just, yeah, it was like kind of like the first record that I like grid edited and treated like all my productions as opposed to like, whatever, man, they're free. And I'll just kind of like capture it. And it is what it is, you know, like instead I was like, let's manufacture this a little bit more.
Did you guys get any submissions yet for the remixes?
A few people have like shown me a couple clips. Shout out to Me and You Too, who are a group that I'm friends with. Who actually, they're a funny story. They became a band by doing the Battle of the Bands competition for my favorite producer, A.G. Cook, and like he paired them together, and they won the Battle of the Bands competition, and like they're cool. So I mastered a little bit of material for them. And then I like, they really like Bone Cutter. So I sent like, that was the first person I sent stems to. And he like sent me like something he made out of Rob's vocal. It's just like, all right, this is tight. It's like, it's cool to hear like our avant-garde like noise through other people's ears and appreciation. You know what I mean?
Have you sent that to us?
I sent that one clip the other day. I think they posted it on a Twitter thing too, but it's tight as fuck.
Pretty cool. Sam, talk about like the levels. You were mentioning that we recorded like super loud. Is that...
Oh no! Like, are you talking about like? Well, I was just punishing things really hard on my gear end here. In order to make it sound the way that I think sounds good. Like when I look at like the gear that I have set up as my mix bus, it's like, oh no, that there's no way that sounds good. You know what I mean? Like I'm like hitting things way too hard, and it's like tight. You know what I mean? Like. It's kind of like, well, everything is like different, you know, like I'll be working on like a mix for that Bandana system. And I'm like trying to play it safe and play it like super chill. And they're not really that stoked. And then the second I like light it on fire and put it through like some heavy gear, like they're just like, that's what's up. It's like, wow, okay, great. Like technically I'm doing things very wrong here. You know what I mean? But like this, okay, cool. Like awesome. So it's like nice to kind of like know the boundaries, but like we definitely like, we're breaking my theoretical rules of like how hard I abuse gear, and I pushed it a little harder.
That's dope. So, Robbie, since the last time we talked, you've mentioned to me before we got on that you've been working on some short story videos. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, just, I've just been I moved to Massachusetts and I'm bored. I'm trying to get a feature film funded. So in the meantime, I'm just making like no budget stuff, like ambient videos, like set to keyboard that I've written throughout the days. Like, especially when it was snowing, like I was doing that constantly because there's nothing to do really. But yeah, that's my shit.
Sick. When are we going to see some of those videos?
I post them on my YouTube, which is kind of easy to find. You can find it in the link in my Instagram bio.
Cool. Nice.
Yo,
so
Rob,
anyone
have you ever heard of Van Neistat? He's Casey Neistat's brother.
No.
Dude, you should watch his YouTube channel. You'd really appreciate it. It's really good.
Oh, yeah?
He just like started posting stuff. He's good, man.
What is it, like short films or?
Oh yeah, it's just like quick, like 5-minute things. Like I don't know if you know anything about Casey Neistat, but like Van was the first like artistic DIY guy who like kind of like Casey like learned that whole style from. But like Van stuff is really cool. He's like super just like dude who lives in the woods who like makes a 5-minute video about like Charles Bukowski and shit like that. Like it's really
interesting.
Yeah, you'd like it.
They should give me some money.
So good.
Also, Rob, quick shout out to we were talking about this earlier about how you're doing logo design for bands now.
Yeah, it's fun. I've gotten a lot of cool commissions, a couple that I can't really talk about yet, and then a lot of fun local bands. It's been interesting, like listening to the bands that ask me to do it. And I'm like, you listen to our band? like
Oh, really?
Yeah, some very interesting fellas.
Weren't you saying like indie bands were hitting you up too?
Yeah, there's some indie bands. There's like some interesting like trappy type stuff, electronic artists, hot sauce people. It's interesting.
That's funny.
That's funny that the trap artists, because I see a lot of like the metal logo font thing that you do. Like I see a lot of that on like as their aesthetic now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like that it's being adapted by like hip hop and rappers and trap. Speaking of which,
Since the last time we talked, Mario Judah hit you guys up.
No, he didn't.
I'm sorry. He shouted you guys out on Anthony Fantano.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's fucking crazy. Did any of you guys hit him up and be like, "Yo, what's up? Collab"?
I think we messaged him on the Lolo thing, and it probably just got buried in other. Yeah, we probably got relegated to the like the little thing up on the right where you don't follow somebody, so you have to like approve them to even send you a message. Probably ended up there.
Yeah.
But maybe he'll notice it eventually.
Maybe he doesn't know our name.
Yeah, heavy low.
Maybe, yeah, because all you have to do is type in the first two parts and you get the YouTube link or whatever.
You know what's funny, dude, is that Lauren Less from 100 Gex once posted like some playlists, and it actually had a Duck Duck Goose song on it too. Like,
oh, right.
Yeah, it's tight how like that's kind of like the fun, like the random things sometimes, like listening, like seeing Halsey at a fucking Story So Far show, like losing her mind. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like apparently also like 100th record is like one of her yearbook quotes. Like it's weird. Like so, but it's like tight Lord. That like it's tight to know that like stuff that like we've worked on like has infiltrated and like is influential to like some of these people. Like it like of course Mario Judah likes Heavy Lowlow. You know what I mean? Like have you heard that guy's music? Like it's of course he likes it. You know what I mean? Like of course Laura Less thinks Duck Duck Goose is cool. Like it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like they have crazy like high pitched scream vocals, and she probably thinks that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like it's tight to like it's validating. It makes me want to make more shit, you know?
Hell yeah. No, I definitely hear the influence on you guys also on bands like fucking like If I Die First and See You Space Cowboy. I don't know if you guys checked them out.
See You Space Cowboy is sick. I haven't heard If I Die First. I like the name though.
That's Little Lotus's band. He's like one of those face tat rapper dudes.
Oh, really? He's interesting. That's
Yeah,
fun.
it's pretty good actually. Like it's funny. I
Face
remember.
tat rappers. Huh.
Yeah.
I said FaceTime rappers.
No.
They only record on FaceTime.
Yo, by the way, Andrew, I keep noticing in the back that you have, and I think it's such a funny story that we should tell, but you have a sun amplifier.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And it's the model of the one
I
that
know,
you had
yeah.
that had that whole dramatic scenario.
Gosh, you should. Oh, actually, I want to say something really quick.
Yeah.
We were talking about Rob's logos. Something that's pretty cool about the album art is when I was like putting all of the designs together, what would come up was like, let's say like all of the text is just Rob's handwriting, and so like anytime we need something like the credits for like produced by Sam, I would text Rob and be like, yo, I need you to write this out and then take a photo. And he's like, take a photo of it. And so like the text is super sick on all the artwork. I'm excited to come out. It's pretty wild. It's like Rob's fun handwriting.
Yeah, I wasn't working at the time, so I could just like do it like
if I look
hella fast.
The text, like our text chain, it's like real fucking weird. It's just like, yo, send me this written out, and there's just a photo of it. Oh, send me this, and then it's like
I think it's cool though that like it being like Rob's like thing, handwriting is like a good example of like it's also like a really like validating like experience of like making content together and like actually like going through the process of like just being who you are and like doing what you can do and like how actually like cool it turns out. You know what I mean? Like you want to scrutinize things and be like, no man, the handwriting would look lame. Let's find like a really cool font and let's like go all out. You know what I mean? But like that's like, why? What's the point? Like instead, it actually is like way cooler to have that like Rob do that. Like I think that like whole thing is like an example of like working with these guys and how like fun and natural and intuitive it is, and like how it always turns out unique and cool. You know?
Oh, unique is definitely the word, because like I got the heavy low DVD, and like Rob wrote the HHLL on the actual DVD, and he fucked up on one of them, and then he just like wrote it right on the other side, and it's just like it's super personal.
Yeah, I did all those motherfuckers by hand.
We're doing, I think we can say we're doing a VHS of that, which will be pretty sick.
Oh, wait, you're doing a VHS?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It looks sick.
Is this new?
It's the heavy DVD. It's the same heavy DVD. Just,
okay. Different format.
Yeah. Also not 2 hours.
That reminds me, I have our final live performance we did in Australia. I have all the audio for it that I need to actually mix and put together for us so that we can release that. But we have our final show.
That'd be fun.
There's video that existed at one point. I don't think it does anymore.
Yeah, that's the lost.
Yeah, that's the lost video. But I'm also talking about the video of the show. I even hit up Hamer and it's lost too. So, but at least we have the audio for it.
If once you get it mixed, we'll just animate the show.
Hey, that's a brilliant idea, dude.
I love that.
Yeah, there's also
like the rotoscoping style animation.
Dude, that's awesome. That's a great idea, to be honest.
You could probably get whatever. We'll talk about this offline. I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Because I'm just looking at Chris. He just looks so mellow.
Yeah, we need to get over to Chris. He's getting too comfy over there. Chris, what have you been up to since the last time we talked? I see that you've been doing lots of drum covers, yoga, and I'm very curious on how the nudist colony's been.
Good, dude. I've been going up there maybe once a month. I'm getting my yoga teacher certification right now, which has been like a cool experience. With yoga, and I don't know, still going to chiropractic school, and I actually haven't played drums in a month. I broke up my sticks. I need to go fucking get some new drums, but it's good to like let something go sometimes, to like find the want to like do it and like not be forced into it. Not that like I feel forced, but like drums become like I don't know. It's just so like repetitive and so like hard on the body. Whereas like guitar, I literally could just sit here and just fucking jam. Where like I have to like really put some body effort into drums. But anyways, life's good. I was at school yesterday and this kid had a Story So Far shirt on, and
Second.
I walked up to him and I was like, "Yo, the guy that recorded that album's in my band. He plays guitar." And I was like, "Oh, hit me." I was like, yeah. This is tight.
That's funny.
Just like I don't know, like I love Sam, and it was just like this eye-opening moment. Just like it was like tight. And he was like, "Yeah, I grew up listening to this band when I was a kid, and I'm from Santa Rosa and blah, blah." And anyways, fucking, it's just weird to like experience that shit sometimes, But on another level, as far as drums, I was thinking, circling back to what you said, as far as where I said, just like it being easier is sometimes harder too, though, to like kind of just like chill out and play that kind of stuff. And then to what Sam said about it being more manufactured as a sound, that took me a while to get over as like just like a silly like punk rocker of like almost just liking the sound of it not being like perfect or whatever, and then like listening to dance music and like hearing that sort of rhythm, I just like needed that. And that's where that came from, is like accepting that noise and just transferring from like this punk rock vibe of not giving a fuck to like actually making it sound like in rhythm and music and stuff like that. So I don't know, it was just like accepting that too. Anyways, that's all I gotta say.
Hell yeah. Can we see a yoga pose real quick?
Yeah, you guys want to do a yoga pose with me real quick?
Sure, I'll do it
You
right now.
guys stand up real quick.
I don't know what.
Just stand up. Just stand up.
I'm here. I'm
Oh.
up. I
You
can
zoom
also
out.
hang on my hangboard.
Stand in one position, Sam. I see there, he has a little hangy thing.
Yeah.
That's
Rise-
standard.
Lift your hands to the sky. Breathe in. Inhale.
Punch your dick.
All right, exhale. Bring your hands down to your heart. All right, close your eyes. I want you to breathe in. Inhale. Exhale. Let something go. Let something go. All right, cool. All right, that's all I wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
I feel good.
I like that.
That was great.
Chris, I feel like you and Danny have gone full on wook.
What's that? Is that like
I
burning?
love that term. I love that
burners?
word, dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
like,
is it? What?
I hang out with some Wookiee dudes and stuff. I mean, I'm a little bit of both, but it's funny because like I go to EDC and stuff, and the Wooks are like, "You're not even a Wook. You're a fucking raver."
That's like emo and scene.
Yeah, it's funny. But like,
What is the urban? What's the Urban Dictionary definition of a wook again? It's like a forest like dweller or whatever.
It's like a deadhead kind of. It's a
That's a good point. Yeah.
dubstep?
Deadhead is the
I don't
best one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They like wrap crystals in wire. I think that's that's the type of shit. Not that
So
there's
perfect.
anything wrong with that.
So good. Yeah, you're right though.
funny story so far story since you brought that up, Chris. I was on I went on the Wayback Machine. I checked out their MySpace from 2009, and I looked at the very first comment on the wall, and it's Sam saying, "Hey guys, why aren't I on your top 8?"
So good, dude. I love it, dude. I thought that was so funny that you found that.
Yeah, that was hilarious. All right, so let's keep it moving, okay? So when was it exactly during the era of heavy, low did you guys bring Sam into the group?
That's a hard one because, like, I mean, when we brought him, like, he sort of slowly integrated because he first like recorded "Fuck It," which is like real early in heavy, low, and then like,
Did he record guitar or was
No. Like he just
No,
like
no.
recorded us playing that like
doing the instrumentation on that album. And
The actual story of that is that these guys, I think their first thing that they ever recorded was with Andy Kubler, right? And that was, did you ever release that?
yeah, that's Kids.
Got it. Okay. And then after that, then they did Courtside with Deegan. And then me being friends with Gia was like, dude, you should record Heavy. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and I listened to it, and at the time I was like really into Norma Jean and like really into the Blood Brothers, and like I totally understood the world that they were in. You know what I mean? That they were like directly like, it's kind of the same like as the story so far. Like, it's like, okay, cool. Like, basically you want to make a record that sounds better than Blink-182, Newfound Glory, Yellow Card. Like, okay, great. Like, let's do that. I'll make that. And I the goal is to make a record that sits on the same shelf as all those bands. You know what I mean? Even higher. I want to go even better, you know? So like Heavy was the example of like, okay, you want to be on Blood Brothers, Botch, Norma Jean, blah, blah. I get it. Totally get it. Like, I could do this. And so then that's when the first thing we did was fuck it together.
Cool.
Yeah, then without getting into too many heavy details, just over the next like 5 or 6, 7 years, like Sam filled in guitar on some shows, filled in on a tour
For Chip.
for Chip, and then he like sort of ended up as like the only guitarist for like the last like our Australian tour and a few like sort of final shows we played in the US.
Dude, the best part about that Australia tour was that we had to play how many shows without you? So it was just me and Chris and Rob.
We played one, I think, just one show.
Yeah.
You might be right. Yeah, it's just the one. So,
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny to think like Heavy at some point, what did we have, like 6 people in the band, and then at some point we've had 3 people in the band. And,
Side note, the reason he couldn't play those shows was because he got bit by a rabid rat and had to spend the night in the hospital.
that's right.
What?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. It
Where
was
were
like
you
as big as a
sleeping?
chupacabra in a
Yeah.
hostel right outside of Melbourne.
So you were sleeping and it bit you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like half asleep, half not, and it bit me. Yeah. So yeah, I like stayed the night in I don't like, it wasn't really a hospital. It was like kind of like someone's house. It was weird. It was like one of those
It was a mud hut.
yeah. We did play a show in a mud hut.
So we did. Yeah, dude. And
talk
then we had
about
a
this
dance
again?
party. We had an epic dance party in it, dude.
Yeah. No, it's not
The
not
rat
to-
thing's not true.
Yeah. Not to give away
This
too
is
much
just
of
like
it.
Dan
Oh,
fucking with snakes.
oh my
It's the same
God.
story. Like,
Wait,
you didn't
wait,
know
what
they're
really
fucking
happened?
with you. Yeah.
I had it's not as fun. I had I think it was like a calculus final or something. And the teacher wouldn't let me take the final like a day early, just because I don't know, whatever. And then I just flew out a day late, and then I put them after a final. I feel like we used to do that a lot. It was just like,
What show was that? Was that Wollongong or no?
yeah, I didn't play
Yeah, that
well.
was while ago.
Oh, that's so wild.
Yeah.
That's hella funny.
Yeah, it was
That show
just
went pretty
us
well.
3. It actually was good because all I remember is that the only thing I brought was the rat pedal, and I had, so I could run a 9-volt battery on that. So I brought enough batteries so I didn't have to worry about power or anything or like any pedal weirdness. And so like I just used my guitar and like their amp setup and my rat pedal, and I just had it set to feedback. So like at least the noise was filled. You know what I mean? There was no moment of silence. Like
Wait,
at least
did
I was
you-
like covering the wall of sound, you know?
Did you like tone or tune down or no?
No, I didn't do anything. I just
Oh,
played
okay.
normal guitar. Yeah, it's so good.
This kind of reminds me of this other idea we've been talking about, is like with these Bone Cutter, like we released every song as a single pretty much, and every time there's like a premiere or like some online magazine will ask us about the song, and it's like after doing, it's like we don't want to keep putting out the same just, I don't know,
Answers.
like answers,
Yeah.
So like more recently we've just been talking about just coming up with weird ass explanations for what these songs are. Like we were talking about how we wanted to say that we had written all these songs on flute first, and then transitioned them into guitar.
Recorder.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right, yeah, like Captain Beefheart or something like that. Yeah, Rob is the Captain Beefheart of this. He conceived of every moment through a recorder and wrote down
A
all the
kazoo.
meticulous time changes. And he was very meticulous about tempos as well too. And so we were just like, okay, Rob, you got it. You know, so he grafted it on a sheet paper. We gave it to Andrew and we gave it to Chris. And we said, here you go. Walk into the studio and we're gonna be session musicians and play exactly what Rob designed for us here.
Yeah, you composed it.
He's a musical genius.
Yeah. So we'll probably, I don't know. We used to do some of that stuff too. Sometimes the things we say aren't real, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine.
I love that. What was more specifically, Sam? What was your first impressions of the heavy low dudes when they came and recorded with you? And was there any specific memories recording these dudes that was a good old funny?
Yeah, I mean, it was like we had a lot of fun, but like the thing that was always cool about them is that it was always very serious, and they like took it very seriously as well too. Like it wasn't like we were just like dicking around trying things. Like they were like it was like very like meticulous, and everyone worked really hard, which was really cool. And so like the first time I worked with Chris, I remember just being like, all right, Chris is obviously like extremely talented. Like he completely gets it. Like when I recorded his drums like at my mom's house, like I was just like, okay, wow. And I remember like Dan was doing the scratch guitar, and I had like Dan plugged in like through a DI in my room, just playing the guitar to it. And I remember just like those are like these like moments where you're just like, what we're doing right now feels important. It feels like this is like we're on to something. You know what I mean? And then the more I like worked on like recording with Dan and recording with Chip and like doing vocals with Rob, and like also like shout out to Matt Caudle, the other original second vocalist that was on Fuck It. Like, dude, like them together, like listening to them together, like they came up with such really good like stuff together, and like it was great. You know what I mean? Like, and it was really cool that like it was fun. It was just always really fun to work with them. Like everyone was super talented and had their own vibe going on. And it was always very natural,
Definitely. And how you said like it feels like it's important. When I go into like the Facebook like MySpace groups and shit like that, like the MySpace Ethcore or whatever like those groups are and shit like that, everyone holds heavy low to like such high regard, which is fucking sick because there's a really good.
I remember there was one time I was recording this band North. And they were this really cool band from Arizona. It was kind of like the first time that I'm like having bands from like out of state come and work with me and like make records with me, And we were like hanging out on Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley, and we were like going to a shoe shop, and there were these like some SUV pulled up, and it was these fucking scene girls blasting the Heavy Low fucking album, and I was just watching them all singing along with fucking Rob's shit, and I'm just like, this is the strangest thing I've, like I'm onto it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just kind of like the more like, I always think I'm making music, but the more I look back at it, it's like, dude, like I make things that like ideally like become like emotional memories that people have and associate like this specific era of their life with this fucking album that like was the most meaningful thing to them at one point in time and gave them so much fucking feels. And every time they fucking listen to that, it pulls them right back into that, and like that's how people have like responded about the Bone Cutter stuff, is they're like, dude, like this is what's missing. This is like what I like exactly brings me back to like the Cave shows, you know what I mean? It brings me back to like fucking early heavy stuff. Like this is fucking awesome, dude. It's like it's just kind of one of those things where it's like if I make something that just like feels great to me, like it like becomes this emotionally fulfilling thing for other people, and that's fucking awesome,
Cool. As far as touring, when Sam was in the band, what specific tours was it besides the Australian one? And do you guys have any good memories specifically with that lineup?
The horse tour?
Yeah, the horse tour, yeah. Horse and So Many Dynamos tour.
Was that the art tour?
It was.
Yeah, that was a good tour.
That was an amazing tour.
Yeah, I don't like in terms of just, I don't know. I mean, like the fun thing with touring is that like you start out touring with these strangers that are in other bands, and then throughout a month they become like your closest friends or so.
Yeah.
So did you guys get tight with the horse dudes?
Yeah, we had
Horse is
known them
great.
before, I think too. But yeah, like so a lot of the bands and people we toured with, I still keep in contact with and stuff.
I just wrote a movie with the bassist or the ex-bassist of Horse. Dash, Dashio.
Dash is a great human being.
Yeah, he played on, I think, 3 or 4 records. He's awesome.
Dude, a funny thing to note about touring with these guys, like on my first tour with them, is like I was guitar teching for this band like in a tour bus and like touring like Canada in a tour bus and shit like that. And going on tour in a van with Heavy, we had no bench seats. We took them all out and only had a futon laying down on it. So the only 2 seats you could buckle into were up in the front. And I think we had like we turned like one bench seat to the side. So it wasn't even like, it was just sitting there. Like it was the most like theoretically unsafe thing ever. And we would just drive through. Yeah. We would just drive through checkpoints, like all like laying down, and Andrew would be like, "Hey, everyone, like keep it down, like just keep it chill, like just lay down, act like you're sleeping." And then he'd be like, "Yeah, hey, we just go right,
just
right
the
on
2
through."
of us."
Yeah, man. And it was like so funny because like the drastic difference between tour bus and like that scenario. But it was the scenario with Heavy seeming so low was actually so much more professional than the tour bus scenario. It was so much more profitable than the tour bus scenario, and had way more engaging fans, and like was so much more fun. Like I had the most fun and professional experience touring with Heavy Low in a van with a futon. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Imagine if we would have crashed like all the lamb goat people wanted us to, and like those hooks at the bottom of the seat flying around the couch. Like,
So there's like the way the benches worked is like the sort of pieces that came down from the bench, whatever the legs, like hooked into these sort of like grappling things built into the bottom of the van, but like we didn't really I don't know, hook them in. So like well, the way we'd sleep was like, here's the van, like here's the front 2 seats, like there'd be a couple these benches, but they wouldn't be hooked in. So like when we'd have to stop, they'd like go like that and like slam back down. But like what we'd also do is like sleep like a person on a bench, a person on the ground, like
under the bench
between the 2 benches. So like a person on the ground, like sometimes like would be sleeping, and that would just be like, and then like these metal hooks would like come and like slam. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, I mean,
dude,
crashing down
on an Australia tour, we got stuck in a like it was a bunch of flooding. So like what was supposed to be like a 18-hour drive was like a 26-hour drive. It was something insane. You know what I mean? And we were like, and Chris like just took like trucker sleeping pills and like got like a box of like 20 chicken McNuggets, like passed out and slept underneath the bench seats. So like there's like 2 bench seats in there, and he's just like underneath them. So like if there was an accident, you're just stuck inside of underneath bench seats. And he
might have been the
passed
safest
out.
guy.
Yeah.
Safest
And I remember when we got back, he woke up, and it was like the first time he woke up, it was like a 26-hour straight like sleep from him. And he just threw the remaining chicken nuggets on the barbecue and was like, "What's up?"
I remember in Australia. They were better barbecue,
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Chris got all pissed about them not giving him like dipping sauce or something.
Yes, dude.
Like because I don't know, at least in the US at that time, you just like could ask for whatever sauce after and they just give it to you. And like that was the point where they started like transitioning into charging you for each sauce, like a quarter or something. And we went there and Chris ordered his nuggets, and after ordered whatever, like barbecue sauce or something. They wouldn't give it to him, and he like, I don't know what you did. I don't remember. I think you were just kind of pissed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something, whatever.
That was a joke for a day or two. I remember that. That was the go-to theme of the day.
Yeah. Also,
where's my dipping sauce, bro?
Going over there and we made burritos, and no one knew how to roll burritos. Like no Australian knew how to roll burritos. It was weird. And so we had to
Dude, that's crazy. I learned something crazy about Australia recently. I know nothing about Australia, but someone told me that like no one's ever been able to travel from like one end to the other end by themselves, because the outback is like the majority of Australia and it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah, it's they call that the bush, basically. Like, I mean, there's, you know about their fires, right? They're constantly on fire. Like the middle of Australia is constantly on fire, and all these different areas. So they have really bad smoke issues and stuff. and it's just because of like lightning and like whatever. It's just like dry fucking bush. So like we know one guy, the guy who's actually the original guitar player at Totally Unicorn that we toured with. He actually, this dude Clancy, he moved out to like the middle of fucking Australia, like dead fucking center of Australia, and like. Yeah, it's like I remember the first time when we landed there, I didn't know anything about Australia, and I just asked. It's like, yo, what is this place? We're basically like, yeah, we're a bunch of prisoners who basically came here like 200 years old, like 200 years ago. Like we're basically like a new country. It was just like, oh, holy shit, like what the fuck? Like, and so like I very quickly like learned how like cool and independent Australia was, but also like how weird it is routing wise. Cause like we drove, to Adelaide, which is like very far from Sydney, like super far down there. And there's like nothing in between. I remember like the brakes going out on the van almost because it was just like windy roads. Like, so I just imagine like, dude, like when you look at a map of Australia, it's like people live here, they live here, they live here, they live here. No one lives here.
Now in the middle.
No one at all lives there. So that's why like Crocodile Dundee is like a badass because it's like from the bush and he can survive in the bush. You know what I mean? Which is based on a real dude who survived in the bush like super long. He's like one of those epic Australian stories.
Bear Grylls is his name.
So, right.
I love like if Australians watch this, they're gonna be like,
these guys don't know shit.
yeah.
They're fucking idiots. Yeah.
Beer's expensive over there. That's what we know.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the
Blue Mountains?
What?
I got engaged in the Blue Mountains out there in Australia, which was very beautiful. It's like very like Yosemite. It's like absolutely gorgeous. It's so weird to see like that terrain and how different it is from ours. It's just it's really unique. Australia's a beautiful place, man.
Definitely want to check it out.
Love it.
I highly recommend it. It's an absolutely gorgeous country, and more importantly, the people are the coolest thing. And like just like hanging out and enjoying pub life with like Australian people was like the greatest social like experience I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. Did you guys get a chance to like hit up like a bunch of different like bars and shit when you were out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's all we did.
Yeah, that's what they do, man. It's just like everyone just meets at the pub after work and everyone hangs out, and then there's meat raffles and like so you'd all put like money in on like a bingo raffle, and then all of a sudden some guy wins the bag of meat from the butcher, like that's the leftover meat, and like all this weird cool stuff that's just like, man, this place is awesome. And like all of a sudden like we were just like hanging out with just like two of the band dudes, and it'd be like 5 of us, and they're like, yeah, a couple of mates are gonna meet up with us. And it's like all of a sudden you got like 13 homies and they're the nicest dudes buying you drinks. And it's like, and their drinks are all like really low alcohol percentage. So you're drinking a lot of them and it's out in the sun. And it's just like, it's the most beautiful, like social pub experience. It's just, it feels great being out there.
That's a vibe.
Went to the beach a lot too, though. A lot of beach going.
Hell yeah.
Can I tell this story that Sam doesn't know real quick?
So good.
So when we recorded this Bone Cutter album, like I went down to record guitar with Sam a couple times, once like a few years ago or something, and then we like kind of wrapped it up right before Christmas or so. I went down for like I'm in Portland, so it's going down to the Bay Area. I drove down, and that's like 10 hours or something, and then I stayed in Sam's studio, and so we'd record all day and then he'd go home, or like we'd watch, and at night I was staying there with my friend and we'd watch DVDs, and then Sam also watched. We should talk about Tenet a little bit too.
Yeah, God, I love it. Best movie ever.
No, thank you.
Only because it's like kind of relative to this record, but like so I don't have a aux cable in my car. Like I have sort of like an aux cable, but not that would hook up with my phone, like a Thunderbolt cable or something. So when we're down there, Sam has these like big rack of CDs, and like right before we left, I was like, I can't like listen to the radio like another 10 hours, like because when you're driving through like distances, the radios keep changing, you keep up with it. So I snuck like a few CDs. I like felt really bad because I was like, I can't risk Sam saying no. Like I just have to take these because what if Sam's like, no, you can't have this. So,
you were desperate.
Yeah, so I took a Blink-182 live CD, and then like a couple more. I took a Sum 41 CD and Green Day's Dookie. And so
You love pop punk, dude.
Yeah, we were just taking. Well,
Staples.
this is the dredge part. Like the reason I took those ones is because like Sam has like sort of like a new metal taste, and a lot of the albums I didn't really want to listen to, but dredge was in there, and so I like kind of felt bad. I was like, oh man, I like taking Sam's stuff, but like I don't think he'd really care, and so I like left, and then like 3 or 4 weeks later, Sam's like sent a picture. It was like, look at all these stupid fucking CDs. I'm throwing them all away. And I was like, oh god, you're like probably could have taken more. and then so what happened after that was Heavy had released this tape over Christmas, like a live album cassette tape, and someone had messaged us like after it sold out and was like, is there any more? And I was like, yeah, I'll send you one. And so I didn't send him one. I sent him that Sum 41 CD. And like they never responded. Like I was like thinking like, oh, they'd get it and they'd say something, haha, and they just never did.
They probably thought they won the lottery.
I know.
Which one is it? All killer, no filler, or the
Yeah.
that's
So that,
Nice.
Jerry Finn one? Oh god, you jerk off.
Didn't you say in our last interview how like you guys like I forget what album, I think it was when you guys put out Fuck It, you were putting like corn CDs inside the sleeves?
Yeah.
I followed the leader specifically. I remember inserting into one of those things.
I wouldn't even be mad.
Yeah.
It's funny
so
because
good.
that record, I think it starts at like track 13. It has like
Yeah.
12 negative tracks, so that would have been hard to burn at the time, like data wise. Like I bet it didn't play either, too. Like I remember my
No,
that
it was
record of my dad.
it was the real CD. It was
Got it.
straight. It was just like had the
It's the real one. Got it.
yeah the girl skipping off the cliff or whatever.
A great album artwork, fantastic album artwork.
Yeah, great. Yeah, by Todd McFarlane.
Oh, okay,
creator of
wow. How
Spawn.
did it? That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's pivot over to talk. So you guys recorded the Cutter EP. That's what it was originally called. Where during Heavy Low Low and the breakup and stuff like that did the Cutter EP come from? Like, did you guys record that after the band broke up, or was that like you guys recorded it, the band broke up, and you're just like, we don't know what to do with this?
Well, so like when we were playing our last shows with Heavy, which was this lineup here, I think we were just kind of like over the baggage and like also just sort of like not really being into playing heavy songs that's like Sam didn't write, and like it just didn't really feel right, so we wanted to just essentially create a new band that was similar but with the lineup that we were working with, and then like the Cutter EP is the Bone Cutter, like that's the same tracks.
Yeah.
Then we just changed the name. I don't know, this is insensitive. And
Where did the name Bone Cutter come from? Was there like a TV show you're watching or something, or like what inspired it?
I mean, I think we were just trying to expand on Cutter, but Chris cuts bones. So
Chris got a foot. I don't know if he's allowed to say that.
Yeah.
I cut a bone in class. My teacher couldn't cut the bone, and she asked me to saw the bone off. So I sawed off this person's foot, and it was an experience.
This isn't the
Cadaver he's talking about.
Yeah, it's a dead person.
But as far
But this
as
is for his school
cut-
because he's doing chiropractic stuff. So yeah,
the cut-
it's not like some weird thing. Yeah.
So chiropractors, they cut dead bodies?
no, you have to.
lab that's just
Sorry.
very similar to like a medical doctor lab, and there's a bunch of like 20 cadavers and stuff, and you become very close with them, and yeah, you kind of just learn from them and stuff. And I don't know, it kind of resonated with me. But like as far as Bone Cutter, but like Cutter came from Australia, and just like I don't know, different people we met and just like experiences of like some like friends cutting themselves over there, and like how we handled it as a band, and like I don't know, just it was just an experience cutting. And then the record itself, I don't know, it has a Cutter vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's nothing too deep though, basically.
No.
Just
I
sounds
think
great.
I think it became more personalized by Chris being like, well, if we throw Bone in there, then I have like more relation to it personally because like I've had to cut a cadaver bone and like, yeah, cool. Like it's like, oh, cool. Like,
Okay, so 11 years or 10 years pass. These songs exist. You guys recorded them. Robbie links up with Sam to record them. Can we dive into that recording process?
yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I think I could just set Rob on the right foot, I guess. But like, it was the first time Rob's come in and done vocals I know in years. So it was kind of challenging for him in a way where I'm now very like religious about doubling. And so I had to work Rob pretty hard, and he had a couple days where had some massive headaches, and we had to kind of call it quits a day early or whatever. But yeah, I remember it just being a moment for Rob to be like, "Shit, I forgot how much this gives me a headache," and like, here we go. Like, but he got better as we went along too.
Yeah, a lot of I swear, like for a very long grip of time, I was screaming out of emotion and without technique, and it would deprive my brain of oxygen kind of, I think, and then I would develop these massive headaches and like nausea. Then like if anybody tried to talk to me after the show or anything like that, I'd just be like, dude, I'm fucking trying to gather myself here. And then but it went away eventually. I learned it. I just learned, diaphragm, yada yada. But then we started this Bone Cutter stuff, and I guess I completely threw away those techniques. So it was all mostly like emotional rather than through technique, through my diaphragm and things like that. So yeah, it was brutal. It was gnarly, but it was fun. And it was weird getting used to the doubling. Because, I mean, I like punk music, I like, grind, things like that. But because like, I'm pretty sure it was Kurt Cobain. He's like, he would only do one take, on in terms of vocals, whereas like from beginning to end so that he could replicate that in the live setting. Which is what we used to do, or what we had done with previous releases, like Turtnip and all the others.
Okay,
Yeah. So this time it was interesting coming to it from, I guess he said, a manufactured standpoint, but in the end, it's just kind of boosting quality. I think. Letting it stand out among just these other shitty records where it's like, yeah, we played it live in Run Room. It's like, yeah, I can tell, dude. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rob has like really important lyrics, and like he's got like really cool cadence on things, and like it's a unique thing to note that like with the mic I'm using right now and like talking on, like he actually like sat in a chair right next to me. I just throw it like this, and he's right here. And he sat down the whole time as he did vocals. He wasn't like standing in a different room, like being like, so that's another unique thing too, is like, he's like screaming sitting down, like, which is like, like theoretically like incorrect because the diaphragm isn't working right or whatever, but like whatever makes him comfortable, whatever makes it cool. And like, the way that I like to record vocals is I like to break up like every section possible and be like, let's talk about just this bar, and like as opposed to like you sing this whole verse, I want to talk about like just this first line, and like this rhythm is happening here, and like your cadence, like if you moved it like this and did this, then I think it would be even better. Like try that again, and like now that sounds perfect, let's get like 4 unique versions of that and like completely align them. So like when I hear it, it sounds like Rob at his best, and I'm hearing his lyrics and like his cadence perfectly, and I appreciate every moment of it, as opposed to like, oh, he's out of breath here and like whatever, it's kind of cool, I just go with it. It's like, no, let me stop it for that moment, let me like split up that line and have him just focus on the first half, then the second half, you know what I mean? So like I'm very like, I like to dissect things pixel by pixel, essentially.
Sick. And was Robbie writing this in the studio too, since you were doing it by section?
No,
Yeah, he comes with it.
So like the first song, My Dead Wife is a Cat, I wrote 10 years ago. Like which is, I mean, I think that one is the most or the least mature of all of the lyrics because it's 10 years old. But yeah, I had written them leading up to this. Once I knew that it was real, and once that I knew we were actually going to make it happen, I started writing. So all of those are relatively new, except for Dead Wife.
That's sick. You know, I was definitely wondering that because like the instrumentals have like existed for so long. Like I was just wondering, like, it's cool to see like it's the old with the new kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly. That's what makes me really excited to hear what the new iteration of Bone Cutter, or like the modern Bone Cutter, once we start this new, LP and working on that music.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like so when I recorded bass, like I was in the sound room, like not next to Sam the old way he used to do it.
Yeah.
Like just sort of tracking directly out of the amp. I don't know, like his old way. And then we take this 10 years. And since then I'd been playing guitar in a bunch of bands. And back then I mostly just played bass. Like I didn't really know how to play guitar. And so like there's a really interesting like dynamic of new and old going, where like drums are the old style, bass are the old style. I didn't know how to play guitar back then, but then I took 10 years and learned how, and now I have a guitar track on here that's sick. Like Sam and I have we both play guitar tracks on this.
Everton guitars too, so that's the other unique one too.
Yeah, totally. Like so it's just kind of a weird blend of old techniques and new. And like I'm really happy we took this long, because like I think it came out better than it would have, because like the whole time Sam was practicing and like improving his techniques, and so was I, so was like Rob and stuff like that. So
wait, so
I remember one moment when I looked over at Andrew when we were recording, and we listened back to like this one part where we're like doing these two like dueling guitar parts, and I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, honestly, it's pretty tight, dude. Like it's cool, like having those like moments where it's just like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but like let's give it a shot. And then it's like, dude, like this is actually like beyond what I think I'm capable of, and it seems like really cool. Like collabing with like them is like, we always just come up with cooler things that I could have ever thought of, and it's like it's cool and unique,
Yeah. So is Andrew? Are you going to be playing? If you guys, hypothetically speaking, you guys play a Bone Cutter show, who's playing what?
I'd play bass.
Okay.
Honestly, I think the way I'd kind of picture it is maybe like Sam and I both have samplers or something like that.
Yeah.
And like we just cover our basses with those. So it's still like it probably won't have like two guitarists. It just like maybe a couple guitar parts were on sampler or something like that. I'm not sure. Yeah, or maybe like done through loop pedals. Maybe I like play bass through a loop pedal and then play the guitar part on bass or something like that.
Okay.
Some of it cannot be replicated in a live setting.
Yeah.
Like it is essentially a sample. I mean, created through, regular recording means, but like I don't think like with equipment it can be replicated again.
Yeah, like I can't ever create those specific feedback notes that we even created in some of the sections that like my friend Brian is like, those are the best things that you guys have on there. Those are the like coolest parts. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that are like, cool, like let's maximize on this and like sample that and like throw that into a sampler and then use that as the new guitar sound. You know what I mean? It's like this weird feedback moment. Like I see like opportunity of like really like identifying like the weird things that are the strengths and being like, okay, well, let's capitalize on that then, as opposed to like, why are we then going back into like playing like a weird guitar riff? Like, let's just like use this weird noise that we create and make weird ass stuff out of that. And like, it'd be even cooler. You know what I mean? So like, I think like, it's like we've talked about doing like a live performance of this because we want to do a live like recording and live video of it to like have as well too, along with the remixes and the videos, like just to have like an overflow of content around this that like just generates like fun, value, and creativity, you know. And so that's where like doing that, like clearly like Andrew would be on bass, I'd be on guitar, and like where like two crazy guitar parts are happening, it would be like one guitar part takes over for a minute, then the second one takes over, and we loop the first one, and I do that digitally, like in post. You know what I mean? Like lots of like fun, like creative ways, because like the thing is like that these guys are a good example of like embracing. It's like the studio is the best instrument that we have. You know what I mean? Like our instruments are like how we like learned how to play music and stuff like that, but like actually like making music in the studio together, like that's when we like know we're making tight ass shit, you know.
Definitely. Yo, and that gets me fucking hyped to hear we might get another we might get a bone cutter. What would it be, a waiting room?
Yeah, in theory, but it would just be like a live version of our EP at the Panda Studios, you know.
Dope.
And did I hear Robbie say LP coming?
Yeah, I'd love that.
I mean, that's the idea. That's the plan. Hopefully it won't take 10 years, but
yeah.
Yeah, we have a text thread where we're pretty constantly, I have it muted, but we're all we're all kind of constantly vibing off. I mean, sometimes it'll be Chris sending like some dance track in the middle of the night, or me sending, you know, the same thing, a dance track, or, you know, some weird shit, that Death Grip song, and all of that, and then as well, it's just like a way to all keep in touch and keep vibing with one another, because most of the time we do all really get along. So yeah, the big plan is to create a full length album of just like wild, I don't know, I've said in an interview, broad swings in genre, just like a dance record and a death metal record, you know, grind and dance, you know, but dance being the main, you know, we're all very, I don't want to say eccentric because that sounds like, but we're fucking weirdos. I don't know, but and weirdos like to dance, you know?
I think there's a lot of cool references to kind of like point out of like I remember like living at my house, like, or my old studio with Rob, and like that was like the era of like listening to a lot of Liars, listening to like Coco Rosie, like getting into a lot of Bjork and Aphex Twin, and like all that stuff is kind of like the same high. Yeah, the Bad Plus, like it's like the same high. You know what I mean? Like it's like this is like experimental, like melodic, really rhythmic, really cool music that like why aren't we trying to make music like that? Why are we playing like heavy music like this? You know what I mean? Like, and it's because like the heavy stuff just comes so naturally, and like that's the cool thing, and that's the fun challenge and opportunity I see in like making an LP. But like also like the only like outlier is that like I'm a perfectionist and like shoot to make masterpieces. You know what I mean? Like, because I would want to sit on the same tier as like Radiohead and Liars and stuff like that, and like that sounds so unrealistic for like avant-garde power violence band to be saying like we want to make like Radiohead like styled like appreciated music, but like that's the goal. You know what I mean? It's like to make like really like cool like outstretched things that like I have no idea what it would sound like, but I just know that like we're all on the same page, and like when we come together and make stuff and like vibe off of it, it's gonna be tight, you know. And like the rule being like, how do we push the envelope and make this like really like what is pop to you? Like, well, let's make your version of a pop song. You know what I mean? Like, let's make your version of like an avant-garde, like experimental Beethoven-ish, like melodic composition. You know what I mean? Like, where can we get weird and sad? Like, also, I really like Rob's dedication to like movies and like how like thematic that makes things too in terms of imagery. Like, I don't even think our final video's out, but that's coming out soon, which is like one of the coolest videos I've seen, where like when I saw that, I was just like, fuck, I can't wait to like make even more shit. Like, this is like so tight to like see people making cool ass shit based around like our music, and like it's like changing my perception of our own capabilities and like what we are capable of sounding like, and like I want to do more tight ass shit, you know?
Yeah,
Definitely.
like it's like we have our character, sort of like we've built our, I don't know, like our personal styles. So like no matter what we do, it's always going to sound like us, and like it's always going to be some sort of like punk and fucked up version of whatever we do. No matter what, it just always comes out pretty wild.
I hope.
yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, even if it's not traditional, you know.
When Sam said Radiohead, like I could see that for you guys, like sitting on a shelf like that, like with new, mature, weird sounding shit. Like I thought that was a really good comparison.
Yeah, I think that new Daughters record that like did really well in hype-wise, which I personally actually have never had a moment of like really like vibing with that Daughters record, but I do think that that's a good example of like that being talked about in that way, and being like, oh, this is a band who sits on the same shelf as Liars and stuff like that. Like they're doing that very well for themselves, clearly, you know?
Totally. Like they can both like spit on their dick and be like,
and open for Nine Inch Nails and be like, cool, you know what I mean?
Liars is so fucking good.
That's so good, man.
I've been listening to them a lot.
We should send the stems to those dudes and just take a shot in the dark.
Yeah, that'd be
dude.
sick.
I remember one time, I think Liars played with Interpol in like San Francisco, and I remember Rob the next day. Yeah, I think Rob the next day was like, dude, we should have fucking gone to that show, man. And I heard that Liars, I heard that vocalist. He played every song holding up a different guitar and never once strummed it. He would stand there and just hold the guitar, allegedly. Like, and I remember just being like in my mind, like it's like the first time I saw Blood Brothers, I was like, this band's good. Like, and then eventually I thought that band was the best band I've ever seen in my life, you know? And like, but when Rob tells me about Liars and I had never heard of that band, I'm like, that sounds stupid. Like I would have hated that show. And then like I had like phases of my life where like two different Liars records were like my favorite records that I played for months of my life. Like Liars is an amazing band.
I've never even heard of them. I want to check them out.
So good. And they like every record is really different. They do a really good job of that. They tour with Radiohead at one point. Like Radiohead was like right when like Radiohead was getting into Flying Lotus and stuff like that. Like that like King of Limbs record is basically like Radiohead trying to like be like Liars and Flying Lotus, in my opinion.
That record, they were wrong, so we drowned them. Really, I think influenced at least Rue and I.
Yeah, like stuff, but with Oscar.
With just being weird and not, or just being weird and or letting yourself be weird, like letting our personalities.
There's that one Liars song on that record where that's like the black and white cover that you would always play, Rob. It's such a good one. It's the one where he's doing the falsetto vocal the whole time, and it's like the slow ass, like David Lynch sounding one.
Oh, that's
it's the last song on the album with Scissors.
Yeah, that's a fucking great song, man. You play that song all the fucking time, and I remember just loving that song.
Good ass song. Yeah.
Yo, side question. I was surprised to see when Furnace Fest got announced that Bone Cutter or Heavy Low Low wasn't announced on the lineup. Were you guys approached for that?
Oh, I was just about to say, wasn't that started as a Christian fest? And then I was like, nah, that's Cornerstone. But
no,
I was surprised we weren't. I was like, you motherfuckers, you got all these bands that sound like us, but you didn't ask us. Not that we would have played.
No, because I saw a bunch of people saying like, "Why isn't Heavy Low Low on this?"
Thank you to those people.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Man. That's cool.
I mean, I don't know. It probably just didn't occur to them to ask us, or we don't really have like our
booking agent.
Yeah, we don't have like an aggressive guy vouching for us or anything.
Yeah, so it's probably just hard to find us, or they don't like us.
Yeah,
they probably just don't like us.
Yeah,
it's probably because I'm associated with you guys. They're like, we gotta pass on them.
Probably a combination of all three.
Yeah, right.
There we go.
Nice.
That's some sexy moves, to be honest.
Oh shit!
Dude, I'm trying to tell Chris. I've been saying, so he does this headstand, but then he'll try to do like handstands. I told him to put a bowl of soup under there and like sip some soup while he's upside.
Wow. with a straw,
Yeah, with his lips, I guess. I don't know.
some broccoli cheddar.
Yeah.
So good.
I've been following Chris. Since the beginning of his yoga journey, and he has come such a far way with the shit he can do. It's so impressive.
He's
Yeah,
doing
I love it.
Yeah, so I think we should probably start cutting this because I gotta get to my session here.
All right.
I gotta go get my
You got
lady.
any final sign-off questions or anything for us? You know, we could
Yeah,
like a cool 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. So, as far as shows, I have a speculation that you guys have some shows lined up with some 12 gauge records bands.
No,
Great idea. We'll
I
use that
wish.
idea. We'll pitch it to him.
We
I'll get off of this and I'll be like, let's do a 12 gauge fest. Us as a piece. Here we go.
here's the thing. I was just talking to the For Your Health, someone at For Your Health.
Yes, that's who I was gonna recommend.
Yeah, we just simple. I don't know. They slid into my DM and
So good.
I don't know. Yeah, that'd be sick. A 12 gauge fest would be cool. Maybe even like
That'd
the
be
East Coast and West Coast version. Yeah, we don't really have shows lined up, but we'll probably do something.
Yeah. The video is like the big plan, at least. You know what I mean? To do the live performance thing.
Yeah. So we got live videos, kind of working towards an LP.
Yeah. Remix album coming.
Remix album.
Remix EP. Yeah.
We got
And
another
then-
music video coming out soon-ish.
Another music video. Yeah. And then the vinyl is coming out. Everyone keeps asking us like, what happened with the vinyl? It will be on pre-order, but it's just too early to do pre-order, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's like a deluxe packaged vinyl with like a poster and a bunch of pretty sick shit. So
Sick.
yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the start. You know, we just have an EP so far, but we're just gonna keep doing stuff.
Nice. I'm glad to have you guys back. I'm glad to hear that there's going to be some future stuff, and that's all the questions I got for you guys. I really appreciate.
Yeah, I was excited to wake up today and do this. Like I told my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna do a video, little Zoom podcast thing with the Bone Cutter guys. It's gonna be hella funny and hella fun.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love them. It's the most consistently emotionally fulfilling individuals I've worked with.
Sweet. Yes.
there it is.
Yeah. Thanks, Mikey. Thanks for having
Hell
us.
yeah.
Oh,
So
show
I'm gonna
your-
take us out, guys. You know the fucking vibes.
Yes, dude, you look great.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We're To All the Crowd Rooms. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You get the alert as soon as the episode's posted. And thank you for watching.
Guys, there's something in it. I can feel it.
What about the Doge Coin? I know you wanted to get some shit off your chest.
Oh, so well, Dogecoin is. I mean, dude, it's funny because the first thing it's important, like for me to reference Gary LaChance, I think is that his name. He was the tour manager of Horse the Band when we went on tour with him, and he was like one of the first like early Bitcoin promoters, and like he was crazy into Dogecoin like the second it was created. Like he's been behind this thing. Like you have those weird friends who have been like annoying in your life that you're like, this one dude always told me about Bitcoin, and I was just like, shut the fuck up, dude. I don't have $1,200 to throw in Bitcoin, and like, you know what I mean? It's just like, fuck, dude. Like, and then Gary is that dude about fucking Dogecoin, and it's like he's been there since like 2013, 2014, being like, this is the currency that's going to change the future. It's going to bring people together. Blah blah blah. It's going to fucking like it's going to take over everything. It's going to fucking like bring in the new wave of like feminism and like fucking like celebrating the female, and like he's like all into this thing. And dude, it's got Elon Musk support. Like he tweeted about it again today. Like this thing is going to hit $1, and it's going and it's like the Barbra Streisand effect. Like anyone who like hates this thing and tries to like talk shit about it, they just make it have more fucking value, and it gets even bigger than they want it to, dude. So it's like it's been a pretty exciting movement to be watching and be a part of. I root for the Dogecoin. I like the coin.
Every time Elon texts or tweets about Dogecoin, doesn't it give it a spike or something?
Yeah, so he tweeted about it today, and he said the future is hodl. And so everyone is just like, fuck yeah, it went up to 29 this morning. It's gonna fucking, it's gonna go past 30 here coming up soon. It's gonna hit 38 again. I'm in, dude. I'm excited. This is a ride. It's a roller coaster. And everyone I know in my life is like, get out now. You're a retard. Get out. Like, sell. You need to like count your blessings, blah, blah, blah. And like, that shit just like fucks with your head. And it's like, okay, like, it's easy to make mistakes real quick. It's easy to feel like an idiot. And then like some days it's amazing. Like I've lost so much sleep just like watching charts. I'm just like so invested in it because it's like, it's happening right now. It's gonna like, this thing's gonna come out and eventually it's gonna be looked back upon and it's gonna be like, oh wow, it's $2 now. It might even be fucking like 6 cents again. Like, and I'm a total idiot here. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see. No one knows, but I believe in it, and I think it has a bright future, and I support the Doge Coin.
He's not selling. What about the NFTs? Is Bonecutter going to have or Heavy Low Low? Either of you guys going to have a NFT?
We were joking about it, kind of like talking about it. Nothing like concrete, but I wouldn't be opposed to creating something for it. You know.
I still don't really get what it is like, because when I went and checked it out, like, certain things were going for like $10,000. I'm like, who the fuck would pay for this? And what does this do for you at the end of the day?
Yeah, one of them, there's a good podcast that just came out about it where I think it's like the Daily Update. It's like the New York Times one. But they talked about how this one New York Times guy, he took a picture of his column for New York Times, a photo of it, and made that an NFT, and it sold for like $5 million.
Oh my God, that's insane.
And he thought it was gonna like sell for like maybe like 10,000 or like 30,000 because like that's how much like an ad cost. You know what I mean? To like be in there. So like whoever would like buy the NFT would be mentioned in an article. So like maybe like they'll get it to 30,000 most, and like it apparently was like 750,000, and then it went to like 5 million. Like some company like in Saudi Arabia bought it because they're like interested in fucking NFTs and like the value of it. It's so weird, dude. It's like this new like possible way of like laundering money and like and or like direct to consumer way for like Kings of Leon to be like, hey, let's do this thing and make $20 million immediately right now just to ourselves without our record label involved, without anyone else involved. We'll put up something and have a direct to consumer possibility where we can make millions of dollars in crypto. It's insane. Hey, you asked.